Have you ever felt like there's a hidden part of yourself influencing your thoughts, emotions, and actions? Well, if you have, this is your shadow self. In today's video, we'll explore how to uncover and heal those hidden aspects using a powerful tarot spread that I designed for deep inner work. Let's start off by looking into what shadow work is and defining it. Shadow work is about exploring the parts of ourselves that maybe we've repressed or denied. These parts can often stem from past experiences, societal conditioning, or unhealed wounds, either from childhood, adulthood. It could be anything, any point in time in our life. While it can feel challenging and scary, shadow work is one of the most transformative spiritual practices. It helps us integrate these aspects into our lives to grow into our fullest selves. It's not about covering up those shadows, but bringing them into the light. So in order to do that, I created this spread that is going to help us go into those aspects. And I've created this shadow work spread, and I'm going to be using the JK Tarot today, and it's just a 4-card simple layout, nothing too in-depth because we're already going into such a deep place. I didn't want to complicate it or make it bigger and more overwhelming for those of us who are a little intimidated by shadow work. We have card 1 here, and the question is, what aspect of my shadow is asking to be acknowledged? Card number 2, how is this aspect currently affecting my life? How is it showing up? What does it look like? Sometimes we might be aware of it, sometimes we might not be. So it's really important to engage with how is it showing up in my life. Card number 3 is, what lesson can I learn from this shadow aspect? What is it here to teach me? It's coming up for a reason. What is that reason? And card 4, how can I integrate this part of myself into my life? How can I integrate it in a way that's more positive? How can I turn it, flip it from a shadow aspect to understanding it a little bit more, acknowledging it, making it feel seen and heard, and then letting it sprout from there? What can it transform into? This 4-card spread is very, very simple, yet very profound. Each position guides us to look at a very specific part of the shadow self, what it is, its impact, its lesson, and the steps toward healing and integration. I'm going to be doing a demonstration in this video. I'm going to be using myself, my real shadows, just so you know that this is raw, this is real, and I'm here to help and guide people and share along the way. But before we get into that part, I think the most important part is to create a safe space and a sacred space to enter into doing a reading or any kind of journaling. You will need your journal nearby. You will need a tarot deck. You can light a candle, have some incense or a cleansing property before you start. This all helps you get into that mindset, that calm space. So we find a quiet, private spot where you won't be interrupted, where you can take your time. You want to ground yourself with a short meditation. You can do this by listening to some music, following a guided meditation, or just sitting and taking note of your breath and allowing it to get deeper and deeper. Again, keep your journal nearby and something to write with to jot down your thoughts and feelings as they come up. This is also really important because you aren't going to be able to do that over again. Your initial thoughts and feelings are the truest form before we start filtering them with our mind, with our heart. And please be gentle with yourself. This process is about exploring, not judging yourself. So enter a space where there's no judgment allowed. It's a safe space to explore an aspect of yourself that you've been wanting to work on, or perhaps maybe you are asking one to come forward. Maybe one that you've suppressed for a long time and you weren't necessarily really inherently aware of. Again, just be very gentle and gracious with yourself. So once you feel like you've entered a calm, safe space, you feel ready, or as ready as you will be, you're going to take your deck and you're going to shuffle it the way that you like to shuffle it. And for me, I like to riffle shuffle until it feels right. Then I knock on it to cleanse anything else away that maybe is still there. Then I overhand shuffle and I ask each question, each prompt. I lay them face down until all the jumpers have come out. One by one I ask each question, select a jumper as they come up, and then I flip them over one at a time, and then I look at them collectively. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle until everything feels just right. Again, it's important to take your time. Do not be in a rush with this. It's really hard to do, especially when we're looking into a part of ourselves maybe we don't really like or love, but don't rush it because it's just not going to help in any way, shape, or form if we are hasty through this process. We won't gain as much from it. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle and lay out the cards, and we'll get into the reading. Okay, for card 1, which is what aspect of my shadow is asking to be acknowledged, I pulled the Ace of Wands. For me, this shadow is about doubt. It's about thinking that I'm not as creative as I am or maybe once was. I feel as I get older, especially in my career choice or career field, which is marketing, I feel more and more left out. I feel like marketing is a very tough industry to age in. It's not really that kind. You're supposed to start out at the very beginning and work your way up and eventually become a VP of marketing or a senior marketing manager. I struggle a lot with feeling like I am knowledgeable, I am a leader, I can do this marketing thing. Also, another aspect is since starting my channel, it's been really hard not to compare myself to other channels and other wonderful souls here. We are all here as a community, but in some aspect, we are also competing against one another for the analytics, for the data, for a role in our viewers' lives. For me, I started my channel because I wanted a place where I finally belonged somewhere, but I have to create that at the same time. So a lot of the times I'm still talking to myself in a way and hoping that people will hear my voice, what I have to say. That's one of the reasons why I connected with the English language and writing in general to begin with, because I could write down my thoughts and the page couldn't ignore me anymore. The page would listen. I could form words, I could change the order, and it would change entire meanings. And the way people read and accepted information, it changed it drastically. So I feel I forget what that is called. I'll put it up on the screen, where you just feel like you are a fraud or a fake, or all of the experiences you've gone through, all of the schooling, all of the real life practices and events that you have gone through doesn't matter because you feel like you're not good enough. And I've been carrying that with me for a long time. Losing my job, and I hate to talk about it again because I've mentioned it a few times, but losing my job hit me harder in my personal life than I ever thought it would. I'm getting a little teary now because, especially in America, our jobs become our identities. People ask us all the time. The first thing they ask is, what do you do? Or what are you going to school for? What are you studying? What's your title? What work do you do? And right now, I don't have any formal work, and that has been really hard. My daughter comes home from school and asks me, so-and-so's dad does this. What do you do now? And what do I say? It's not like I'm doing nothing. I'm still a human being underneath my career. That's who I was first. The career came second. But we're pressured. There are so many pressures to have that be your identity. So when that's taken away, it kind of leaves you looking at blank walls and staring at ceilings at night. It makes me feel like my job was to be creative, and I don't have that. So am I even creative? So I think this is a very accurate representation of my shadow, my current, probably most recent shadow, my creativity, my passion, feeling like I am not enough, that losing my job invalidates all the hard work I've done. You see, it's not just my job where I am creative. I've kind of been that way. I mean, ever since I was a kid. And my mom is very similar. She's very crafty. She's very resourced. And she can make something out of nothing. And I feel like I'm similar. I can make a meal out of 3 ingredients. I can journal all different kinds of ways, with just my words, or by adding visuals to a page with no words, or a mixture of those. I'm crafty because I balance my time between being a partner, being a mom, and trying to be myself, being a daughter and a sister. It's been with me forever. So why is it I feel like that's not me? We're going to explore that. The second card is, how is this aspect currently affecting my life? And we have the Emperor. This tells me that my shadow is connected to the fear of domain, the fear of being able to designate that this is me. I am second guessing myself. Therefore, I don't think that I am or can be Emperor-like. It's really interesting because my birth month is April, and the Emperor is my card. Number 4, 4th month of the year, the Ram. It's going to a very deep level within myself, this doubt. It is affecting me in my own authority with my life, and that authority affects me in all aspects. It's shaking me to my core as a mom, as a partner. I have this doubt that I'm carrying with me all the time. Instead of holding tools to help me move forward, I'm holding something that is keeping me cemented in this chair. It's preventing me from having this be the upright version of the Ace of Wands, which is all about opportunity and passion and fire and verve and gusto. This is what's making this reversed. The third card is, what lesson can I learn from this shadow aspect? What is it trying to teach me? And we have the Eight of Cups. It's teaching me that it's okay for me to walk away from viewing myself as one way when I am or have potential to be so much more. My life was one way and it was working just fine. I was supporting my family. We were making ends meet, but I wasn't feeling passionate and creative every day. It just wasn't happening. My job was very demanding. I worked with demanding people and subject matter. There was no room for me in that. So I think it's trying to teach me that by walking away. There's this event that happened, so it's a tower moment in my life, but I don't have to sit among the rubble anymore. I can walk away from it and know that I am choosing so much more than to feel broken all the time and look at the broken pieces of what once was a beautiful tower. I need to take that step away from life as it was and walk towards life as it is. And that can be really hard because I still feel, I'm trying not to get emotional, but I can't help it. The day that I lost my job is months behind me now, but the effects of it are still very much present. I don't question why it happened, I guess, anymore. What I'm questioning now is myself. So the question has gotten much deeper than I think it needs to be or should be. So learning to see life as it is now, moving away from what I thought it was. Maybe I thought it, I mean, like I said, I was providing for my family. The company I worked for wasn't bad by any means. There were a lot of different perks there. Of course, there's pros and cons to everything. So I just have to put to rest what I perceived my life was. Maybe I wasn't as happy as I thought I was. I think I was just trying to put on a brave face a lot of the days and make it through. There was a lot of other personal turmoil going on in my life, and I know a lot of people often use their jobs as a escape, but for me it very much affected my ability to give a shit, I guess. That ability got less and less over time. Now it's time for me to walk a new path and know that there's more for me out there than what was. The last card I have here is number 4, and it's, how can I integrate this part of myself into my life? Ooh. I always feel like this card and Temperance calls me out so hard about balance. This card is telling me that I need to slow down. Things are a little choppy right at the moment, especially emotionally for me. And of course, financially, in a way, for me personally, as an individual. I need to re-find my balance, reintegrate into the world in a different way. Where can I plant my feet that I feel more secure, because what I was standing on is no longer. I think right now I need to focus on one thing. This person is staring very intently in what's in this hand, and he's still carrying something else, but he's prioritizing this pentacle right now. So I think I need to be a little bit more organized. I tend to be one that likes structure in a, how do I describe it? I like structure, but I like enough wiggle room to allow flow and I don't know. I like structure, but not too much. I struggle when there's too much freedom. So I need that structure. That's what I need. And what I want is like that flow. So maybe learning how to rebalance my life in that way. In what ways can I be a little more practical in my life to allow more freedom in other areas? So as you go through your reading, I have a few journaling prompts to share with you as you reflect. It will only deepen your understanding even more. Ask yourself and write down, what emotions or thoughts come up when I think about this shadow aspect? How has this shadow aspect protected me in the past? How has it shielded me? How has it put me in a bubble, per se? What steps can I take to bring more compassion to this part of myself? Write down your thoughts. You don't have to do it all at once. It can be very emotionally overwhelming. And for that, what I like to do is either leave out this spread, take a picture, however helps you the most, so that you have something that you can go back to and reference. The only thing that I would say to journal right away is that initial question of what emotions or thoughts come up when I think about this shadow aspect. you want to jot those down, make note of them in the moment. And then if you are similar to me, where you are a low energy person at base level anyway, this can feel very heavy. I would again take a picture, put this reading aside, and come back later in a day or two and do more intensive, not intensive, but do more intentional, that's the word I was thinking of, do more intentional journaling with those questions. And before I close out here, I want to pose a question. What is your favorite, maybe favorite isn't the right word, but what tarot card symbolizes shadow work for you? Whenever it pops up, does it just invoke shadow work? I have a couple cards here. I have the Four of Swords, which to me, when you're doing shadow work, you need a lot of rest afterwards and some time to pause. This will also help with reflecting. The Six of Swords here, what is it we need to move away from? What choppy waters do we need to just sail off away from? The Two of Swords, because decision making for me is really hard and almost like an Olympic sport. It's so challenging for me sometimes. And then finally, we saw this earlier, but the Eight of Cups is always a shadow work card, a symbol for it, but it puts or can put a more positive spin on it. What can you walk away from to start anew? What can you walk away from to walk towards? You never know what's waiting for you. And with that, everyone, I hope you have a good day or night, wherever you are, whenever you see this. And until next time, see you around.